Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Poulikidis Charalampos, and I'm here to present to you my paper regarding the utilization of mobile-assisted language learning approach to facilitate refugee students' second language learning, a case study in an open refugee accommodation facility in Greece. Here we have some interesting definitions regarding mobile-assisted language learning, and mobile devices. Based on literature review, MOL provides some new methods and tools to foster second language learning. It mainly helped with the vocabulary acquisition and motivation, but also it turned language learning into a more appealing process for both students and teachers. Furthermore, MOL can provide access and support education in times of crisis for disadvantaged population that are affected by disasters or conflicts. It can be both applied in formal and non-formal education contexts. As far as it concerns the Greek educational context, there is discouragement and prohibition of the utilization of mobile devices in formal educational contexts. This research main focus is to investigate the use of MOL approach to enhance the language education of students with a refugee background, the advantages and disadvantages of using MOL, ways of utilizing MOL, but also students' and teachers' perceptions regarding MOL. Here we have the 5 main research questions regarding the advantages and disadvantages of using MOL. How is MOL used to foster learning Greek as a second language? What are the students' perceptions regarding MOL? What are the challenges and limitations of using MOL? And finally, what are the teachers' views regarding a MOL approach? To provide answers to those research questions, we used 3 basic sources of gathering data. The first one was the class observation. The second one was the semi-structured interviews with the teachers of the NFE space. And finally, we gathered information from the main stakeholders, the NFE students. For the student sample, we used 10 male and 10 female students, while their age used to vary from 6 until 14 years old. The 5 of them used to go in junior high school, and the 15 of them used to go in the elementary school. Regarding the teacher sample, we have 3 female teachers, 2 of them of the secondary education and 1 of them on primary education. All of them have several years of teaching experience, but also they have several years of teaching Greek as a second language for migrant or refugee students. The research began with the observation of the non-formal education courses. It continued by providing the questionnaires to the students, and finally we had the teachers' interviews. Based on the results, the main advantages of using MOL is that it can make the learning process more interesting. It can create a positive classroom environment. It can easily be adapted, and it is flexible. It can provide freedom to the educators. It can help them to overcome linguistic barriers, but also it can help students to act on their own. Main disadvantages is the use of MOL for non-educational purposes during the learning process. MOL can often distract students' attention from the lesson. The misuse of MOL can lead students to gradually lose their interest in mobile devices in the lesson. And finally, it can have a negative effect on the amount of effort that students make to achieve a learning. On the table on your left, you can see that the main mobile devices used by the teachers were laptop and smartphones, and on the right one, you can see the main targets for the applications that the teachers used during their lessons. Here we have the main learning applications that the teachers used during their classes. What is interesting at this table is that we can identify at what part of their lesson the teachers choose to use their mobile devices. as pre-task activities, as post-task activities, as main task, or evaluation activities. This table presents the main users of the applications and the mobile devices during the lessons. Here we have some students' perceptions regarding MOL. Most of them are really positive. They believe that they are really familiar with mobile technologies, they really like using them. They believe that it makes the lesson more interesting. They believe that it can help them to create a better understanding of the lesson, that it can help them improve their performance during the courses, that mobile technologies could help them to enhance their participation in the learning procedure. Also, students find the lesson quite interesting when both mobile devices are used either by teachers or by themselves. And finally, they give good chances to the prospect of using mobile devices for educational purposes outside of the context of the school. What is more is that students generally present quite positive attitudes towards MOL approach. They prefer MOL approach in comparison to the more traditional learning approaches. And if students were exposed to a negative experience regarding the use of MOL approach, this probably won't discourage them from using a mobile device again in the future in an educational context. Some of the main challenges and limitations of using MOL approach were the technical issues and the lack of appropriate tools and infrastructure, the lack of infrastructure and equipment in the mobile devices and other digital media and tools, the high cost of mobile devices, and the educators' training on mobile devices. Views of NFE teachers regarding MOL. Overall, they present positive views on MOL as an educational tool. They highlighted the importance of modern educators to embrace new technologies in their classes. They present themselves as quite familiarized with mobile devices. They claimed that negative experience during the application of MOL approach might deter a teacher from implementing mobile devices in his courses again in the future due to the insecurity and the stress of potential failure that they had experienced during the past. Finally, they stressed the importance for modern educators to be proactive in terms of seeking for professional development opportunities in the form of seminars and training regarding the utilization of MOL devices, but also the new technologies in instruction. Most important findings. MOL is used by the NFE teachers to address the language barriers that exist in their classes. Mobile devices are often used by the students in the classroom for non-academic purposes, which distracts them from learning. NFE teachers tend to use mobile devices for a considerable amount of time during their lessons, usually in main task and pre-task activities, aiming primarily at vocabulary building. Refugee students had positive attitudes towards MOL, believing that it can foster their language learning while they are making the lesson more interesting and improving their participation in the learning process. Some of the most significant limitations, according to the NFA teachers, were that MOL was related to technical issues and the lack of appropriate tools and infrastructure. NFA educators pointed out that teachers' appropriate training and readiness to implement the MOL approach in language courses as a vital challenge. Negative experience that a teacher may face when implementing MOL approach could be a barrier to the future implementation of mobile devices in his lesson. Finally, there is only a small number of studies conducted on utilizing MOL for language development of students belonging to vulnerable social groups such as refugee students, and the use of MOL in Greek formal education is systemically demoralized due to existing legislation. Thank you very much.